All right, welcome back to Mastering MMA. I'm Coach Lee here. I've got this bucket here I'm going to use as my opponent, and we are going to discuss angles today when striking. So each one of these noodles is about 45 degrees off if I am centered. So maybe even a little bit further than 45 degrees. But in general, that's where I want to get to striking. We start out faced up, and I want to end up off to the side to one of these angles if I can't do better than that. So the easiest thing to do when changing angles is just to step off to the side, right? Granted, that's easiest for them to counter. In general, especially if I'm just doing a little simple step off, I want to put something in their face, right? I might throw my jab, but instead of stepping in on my jab, I just kind of flick my hand out there. I'm not really looking to do damage. I'm just blinding. I'm putting my hand in front of their face. I'll step off and then bring my two at this angle, right? So it's not a straight forward, straight back. I don't want to be here all the time. Not saying that's wrong. I do that some too, but you're going to have way higher percentages of landing if you can change the angles on people. This could also happen if he were to overextend, right? If he gets his weight out over his front leg too far, his shoulders past his knee, right? That happens a lot, especially if you're a taller fighter. You'll jab and out a little bit, and you'll get people start to reach with their rights or reach with their jabs. So if he's overextending, I can just step off and his head will move out this way, and I get that angle. That's another way I like to hit this. I can go this way too, right? I can throw this jab and just step off and then swing. I like to, if I do a little back step here, I take this foot and open it up as I throw a right. I also, if I am going to this direction, my lead hand, in general, after I step off and I want to back step with this leg, I like to hit the ribs. And I just I'm not going so much for a punch, but just kind of bury my knuckles in their ribs to slow down their rotation to catch up. So as I step off to the side, I kind of push in on their rib, which slows down how fast they can turn, which gives me that extra little split second to get that angle. Another thing I like to do is a shift. I do these a lot. So I will change stances in the middle of a combination. So I might start out, throwing something, and I'll put my jab in their face, right? As I put my jab in their face, I'll step with this foot off to the side, and then I can rotate into this right, and it brings me right back to my orthodox stance. So I'll be in here, I'll throw my jab, I'll step with this, and then I'll rotate into that, right back into that orthodox stance with my right hand, and I can attack on an angle. I also like to, I'll get the angle and I'll keep cutting it. So as they try to back and turn, I'll keep cutting that angle on them. Try to make them force it, or I will double up on an angle. So I might come here, step, throw this right. They might counter with a right of their own. If I can roll that and rotate, that's made them face this way, and now I've got a great angle again. So I'm constantly trying to play this angle game because it's a lot harder for them to defend. If you go back and watch some of my other striking videos, you will see I do a lot of angle changes when I'm teaching. So I like to pass this off to my students. Another thing I see, and I don't really talk about it so much when I'm teaching, because most of the people I work with have got it down because we've been over it so much. So it's kind of lacked, and I thought about that when I was thinking about making this video, is penetration step as you're cutting your angles, right? So if I'm out here, right, say I've got a good bit of distance from my opponent, and I step off to the side, if you continue this line, there's the 45 degree that I'm trying to hit as my minimum on my angles, right? When I'm trying to be real aggressive with it. Sometimes I go further than it, and sometimes just a little step off is all I need just to change the angle of hair. But in general, I like to hit this 45 degree angle change. That's probably my go-to there. But if I'm back here and I step off, I'm nowhere near that 45. But if I jab in and I step in and then step off, I've cleared my 45, right? Here's the 45 line right here. So I've actually gone a little bit past it to start striking because I stepped in deep with a penetration step. Same thing if I would do a shift, right? If I'm back here and I do a shift and rotate, right? I'm not anywhere near hitting him, right? I'm still out in front of him. So when I'm doing my shift, I got to end up closer. So when I step, my foot goes past that 45-degree line, and then when I rotate my hips, he's right in my striking range, or my line of fire, if you want to say. So think about where your lead foot is when you're doing this stuff, right? If I just step off here, I don't have near the angle if I'm in closer and step off. Right here, I've got a great angle off that little step off. Here, I can take a big step, and I'm still not clearing that 45-degree angle. Here, I can take a little step, and I've made that 45-degree angle. Right? So, the closer we get, the less distance it takes to create that angle. So, think about that when you're throwing your stuff. Also, if I'm just out here and I do this, he's turning. Right? No angle has really been made there. Only good that's going to do is if I'm stalking my opponent towards a corner or, towards a wall or something. That's the only good me just circling out here is doing. Or if I'm circling my back away from the wall. But if I blind him for a split second and step, it's going to put him a hair behind, which is that little advantage I need. So I might blind him, take my step. I've hit this 45 angle, hit this. He might be coming back at me with a straight right or a right hook or something. I can roll under, body shot, and I'm back on a bad angle for him. So when you're striking, when you're shadow boxing, start thinking about angles. I know I've got a bucket here. I did that just so it would be a lot easier for y'all to see. A lot of times with my students and private lessons and stuff, I'll lay something down that's flat. It might be tape. I use like the ladders that you lay on the ground for ladder drills and stuff. I'll use them. We've got some things at the gym called penalty boxes, which is just basically like 4 little squares that lays flat. I use that type of stuff. I just have this so that you can see what's happening. But as you can see, like I've got tape where these puzzle mats are, right? I could use this as there's my, or let me move this bucket so you can see this. This could be my center line for my opponent. This could be the 45s off, right? So I can boom, and now I've got my good angle, right? So I can use anything to test with this, whether it's the lines in the puzzle mats, it might be lines that are on the wrestling mats. Either way, I just want to get something so I can work on thinking about getting at least that 45-degree angle. Like I say, it's not always needed, but it helps, right? If you do it all the time, they're going to catch up to it. They know what's going on, right? Sometimes I'm straight forward a little bit, straight back. But I don't do that a lot, right? I'm here, boom, I'm off on an angle, right? Or I'm here, I'm off on an angle, I'm back to another angle. The other thing you need to think about is your opponent's common reactions. Different people react different. Some people, if you cut an angle, they'll just show up, which is great. Some people will try to circle back in. Some people will spin the other way. So you got to kind of test your opponents a little bit. Kind of feel them out just like you would anything else. See what their reactions are as you cut different angles. So hope this video helps you out. You can go back and watch some of my other striking videos. You'll see I'm talking a lot about angles, and I show getting them different angles. This will give you a little bit more insight into what I'm talking about in my classes. So I hope this helped out. Definitely hit the like button. Share on any social media you have. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. We will catch you next time on Mastering MMA.